Today we are going to fight each other using these creatures, but also using Mindbug control to take over the other player's creature and turn that creature against you. This is a game where you play a card and you really do not know if it's going to be good or bad for you. I am of course talking about Mindbug. This is a 2-player game, about around 15 to 20 minutes of gameplay. It has a fast setup, it is easy to learn, and I am going to teach you how to play this game right now. So sit down and let's have a look at this. The first thing we need to do is to deal out 2 Mindbugs to each player, looking like this. These should be placed face up in front of the players. Next we need to shuffle the big deck with the 48 different creatures. Once we have shuffled this real good, we then deal out 10 cards to each player. And then we place them face down in front of us. Next we need to draw 5 cards from this deck. This will be our starting hand. The players also receive a life spinner, and their starting life should be set to 3. In the center of your play area is where you will play your cards. You also need to have a little area for discard pile. Now we're ready to start playing the game. So in this game you are battling your opponent, using the creatures that you have on your hand. You will play these cards in the area in front of you. Depending on which card you are playing, well, different things will of course happen. And your opponent has an ability to use their Mindbugs. These Mindbugs will be used to take control over any creature that a player have played in their player area. The players will take turns going back and forward, playing a card, doing whatever it says on the card, and then the other player get to do their turn. During a player's turn, they can do 2 different things. They can choose to play a card in front of them, and they can choose to attack with a creature. But before we start to play, we need to figure out who is the first player. We will do that by drawing cards from the deck. Each player will draw a card and place it in front of them. And whoever has the highest power value on that card will be the starting player. If there is a tie, well, we just keep on drawing cards until we have a starting player. But now let's look at what a player can actually do during their turn. So the first thing you can choose to do is to play a card from your hand. And you do this by simply picking which card you would like to play. And then you place that card in front of you, in your play area. Immediately after you have played a card in your play area, you draw a new card from your draw pile, so you always have 5 cards on your hand. And then we do whatever that card says. If your opponent do not wish to play one of their Mindbugs, because if they choose to play their Mindbugs, they will take this card to their player area instead and use that card against you. So your opponent can choose to use a Mindbug to steal your creature and put them in their player area. If they do this, they get to use the effect of that creature right away. But of course, if they do not have any Mindbugs left, or they simply choose not to use them, well then you will have this card in your player area and you will use the effects. But what does these cards actually mean? Well, let's have a look at the cards themselves. So this here is one of the creatures. At the top you can see this creature's name. Next to the name you can see its power value. This is the value that this creature will use in battle. And at the bottom you can see a little square with some text. The big thick text at the top is a keyword. And under the keyword you will have some text describing the ability. In this game there are 5 different keywords. The first one I'm showing you here is tough. This means that if another creature defeats this creature, meaning that the other creature has a higher power value than this creature, Instead of being defeated, it will simply become exhausted, meaning that we turn it 90 degrees. If the card is ever defeated again, now it would be defeated completely. And then we also have Sneaky. Sneaky means that this creature can only be blocked by another sneaky creature, but it can still block other enemies just like normal. Some of the creatures have the keyword poisonous. This means that in addition to a normal combat resolution, this creature will always defeat the enemy creature even if their power value is less than the enemy's power value. But if the enemy's creature power value is equal to or higher, the poisonous creature is also defeated. The hunter keyword will let you choose which enemy creature that is going to block it, meaning that your opponent may not choose what creature they use to block this creature. And lastly, we have Frenzy. Now, Frenzy will let you first attack once, and when it's done attacking, it may, if it's still alive, attack a second time. Some of the creatures actually have 2 keywords, making them quite powerful. So that was the first part of a player's turn. You can choose one card from your hand and play it in front of you. And if your opponent do not wish to take control over your creature, well, then you can use the effect on the bottom. And there are a bunch of different effects in this game on these creatures. And you should always try to resolve that effect as much as you possibly can. Meaning that if it, for example, says that the opponent should discard 2 cards, but they only have 1 card on their hand, well, then they discard as much as they can. Meaning in this case, 1 card. And it's also important to note that the opponent can only take control over creatures that you play from your hand. Which means that if you have any other effects that brings another creature into play, the opponent cannot take control over that card. It's only cards you play from your hand. But when you have played the cards and hopefully not been mind controlled, then you can also choose to attack your opponent with a creature. But how do we do that? If you want to attack the other player, you simply choose one of your creatures in your active play area. And then you attack with that creature. Now your opponent have a choice of defending themselves. If they want to defend themselves, they simply take a creature and show that they want to defend themselves using that creature. If they do not choose to defend at all, they will instantly lose 1 life point. But in this case, the defender chooses to use the rhino to protect themselves. As you can see, the rhino has a power value of 8 and the gorillion here has a power value of 10, meaning that you are the stronger and the defender is the weaker. So in this case, the defender will lose. But they will not lose a life point because they choose to defend themselves. And this card that they used to defend themselves would go into the discard pile. But the rhino here has the keyword tough, remember? Meaning that this one actually do not go to the discard pile. It is simply exhausted. But if it is used to defend again and it has the lower value again, then it would become discarded. And that's the way the game goes on. A player playing a card from their hand to their active play area. And hopefully get to keep that creature and use its effect. And then you can attack the other player. The winner is whoever managed to empty the other player's life first. But if you are not able to play any cards from your hand, you will lose the game. And that, my friend, is how you play Mindbug. This is a fast, funny little game. It's easy to learn. It has a fast gameplay. I mean, the artwork here is just hilarious. There's so many cool little creatures here, and there are a bunch of effects that you can use. But the effects are not too many. Some games are almost overwhelming. This one is not. You can pretty easily sit down with a friend that have never played this game and be playing within minutes. Once you have gone a turn, well, you get the idea of how to play it. And because the game does not last that long, 15, 20 minutes, 30 tops, you can play several games during one night. There you have it, my friend. That was Mindbug for you. A two-player game that is really fast, easy to learn, and it's really fun. I'm not a card type of player, really. Normally I like miniatures and big epic adventures, but this did it for me. This has cool art, it has nice little abilities, it got fast gameplay, and you can play several games during one evening. You can sit down with a new player and you will be starting to play within minutes. This is quite cool. If you want to know more about the game, well, check out the links down in the description. If you like what I'm doing here, well, why not subscribe to the channel? Maybe give this video a little thumbs up or a comment. But most importantly, please keep on spreading that board gaming love I know you all have. Peace out.